Why is Jungkook's beloved dog Bam suddenly lying down looking weak and frail? What happened behind the scenes? What is Jungkook not telling us? The photo he posted broke millions of hearts, and the ARMY's response was immediate, emotional, and overwhelming. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every heartbeat of this emotional journey. What really happened to Bam? Share your love and thoughts below. The silence before the storm came with a photo, a quiet yet deeply jarring image shared by Jungkook, a member of BTS, the global icon whose every post usually echoes with vibrancy and hope. But this time, it was different. There was no caption that could lighten the mood. There were no bright filters, no playful emojis, no signs of joy. Instead, the world was greeted with a hauntingly raw moment. Bam, Jungkook's beloved Doberman, lying down on a carpeted floor, his body stretched out in a way that immediately sent chills through the ARMY. Was he just resting? Or was something deeply wrong? He didn't write much, but he didn't have to. The stillness in the image was louder than any words. His fans, who've come to know and love Bam almost like family, instantly felt something wasn't right. The usual sparkle in Jungkook's updates was missing. This post felt like a silent scream, a whisper for support, a trembling heartbeat. Within minutes, social media platforms were flooded. "No, please no," wrote one fan. "Bam, you have to be okay." Others sent thousands of messages with trembling hands and tearful emojis. It wasn't just concern, it was heartbreak, panic, and prayer all mixed into one. One fan commented, "He looks so weak. What happened to our little warrior?" And that was the exact question on everyone's mind. Why would Jungkook post something so emotionally heavy without an explanation? Was he silently asking for strength? Was this his way of preparing us? Or had he already cried all the tears in private and shared the picture as a last resort for hope? Every frame of the image was analyzed. The background, the lighting, Bam's posture. Was he breathing well? Was he simply sleeping? Or was there something medical Jungkook was too devastated to mention? Had Bam been ill? Was there something ongoing the public had no idea about? Fans who had followed the special bond between Jungkook and Bam knew this wasn't just a dog. Bam had become a symbol of Jungkook's quieter, more tender side. He was the silent companion during Jungkook's lonely hours, the four-legged anchor that reminded him of home in a world filled with chaos. Bam wasn't just a pet. He was family. He was his sanctuary. And now he was lying motionless in a dimly lit setting that looked far from comforting. Jungkook has always been private when it comes to his emotions. He shares just enough to stay connected, but never too much to burden anyone with his pain. So this image, this unspoken plea, shattered something inside every fan who saw it. ARMY responded not just with messages, but with action. Fans started trending hashtags like #PrayForBam and #GetWellSoonBam within hours. Artists painted portraits of Bam. Others compiled past clips of Jungkook with him, laughing, running, training, cuddling. Every happy memory became a form of prayer. Fans wrote letters, made videos, created lullabies. One popular ARMY account even released a heartfelt song titled Our Little Angel, with the lyrics "Sleep now, but not too long. Wake and fight, because you're strong." Yet behind all the love, there was fear. Could this be more serious than it looked? Could this photo be the first sign of a heartbreaking farewell? The thought was unbearable. Observers began pointing out past interactions. Didn't Jungkook seem quieter in his recent livestream? Some asked. He mentioned Bam briefly, but didn't say much. Could it have been a silent clue? Was he already dealing with this pain in the shadows, trying to stay strong for fans? Some fans noted how Jungkook once said in an interview that Bam was more than just a dog. "He listens when I talk, and sometimes I feel like he understands things I never say out loud." That made this moment even more crushing, because if Bam understood his silence, he must have felt the weight of this sadness too. The image continued to spread like wildfire. News outlets picked it up, but ARMY stayed ahead of the story, clinging to hope, decoding every past clip, and waiting desperately for Jungkook to say something more, just a sentence, an update, anything. But he didn't. Hours turned into days, and the silence grew heavier, but ARMY refused to let go. In one post, a fan shared a video of candles lit around a picture of Bam, captioning it, "Even if you can't hear us, Bam. No, we're all holding you in our hearts tonight. Was this the start of a long fight? Or had Jungkook already lost something precious? And this was his way of saying goodbye without breaking entirely. Questions continued to haunt the fandom. Another emotional wave hit when an old clip resurfaced of Jungkook quietly kissing Bam on the head and saying, "Even when no one's around, you're always here." That line suddenly hit differently. It now sounded like a farewell disguised as gratitude. Fans replayed that clip like a hymn, as if clinging to the living proof that the bond between them was eternal, no matter what. Speculation grew. Was Bam battling an illness, a chronic condition, an accident? One moment, one photo, and the entire world stood still, just waiting, hoping, praying. Yet through it all, one truth remained. The love that poured out from the ARMY was nothing short of miraculous. The world saw a fandom not obsessed with fame or glamour, but united in shared humanity, compassion, and empathy for a creature who had become more than a dog. Bam had become a symbol of Jungkook's heart, and when that heart hurt, the world felt it. Still, the questions remain. Is Bam recovering now? Was that image the worst of it, or just the beginning? Will Jungkook speak, or will he let the silence carry the pain a little longer? And perhaps the scariest question of all, was that image a goodbye? We still don't know, but one thing is clear, Jungkook doesn't walk through this storm alone. The ARMY is with him, howling, crying, and standing in the dark, hoping for a light. Until then, the words continue to echo. Get well soon, little angel. Time seemed to freeze after that single photo was posted. The internet, usually brimming with joyful edits, playful jokes, and fan art of Jungkook and Bam, suddenly turned somber. There were no more giggles, no more colorful filters, only a dark cloud of uncertainty hanging over millions of hearts. Still, no new post came, no clarification, no caption, just that one haunting image, Bam lying on the floor, motionless, eyes distant. Was he merely resting? Or was this the beginning of something much worse? The longer Jungkook stayed silent, the heavier the air felt. Every second without news added weight to the whirring. Fans were torn between two possibilities: that Jungkook was simply taking a moment before he spoke up, or that the pain was already too deep for him to find words. The ARMY community, known for its passionate strength, responded like a tightly knit family in crisis. In Brazil, fans organized a virtual candlelight vigil. In Korea, fans sent bouquets of white flowers to HYB, each with notes that read, "For Bam, please stay strong." Across Twitter, fan letters flooded timelines. "Dear Bam, you are loved by millions. Fight, baby." But even as hope poured in like a river, the questions refused to fade. Was Bam seriously ill? Was this something Jungkook had been dealing with in secret for weeks? Had there been signs, ones we missed because we were too busy celebrating every joyful update? Clues began to resurface. One fan recalled a recent live stream where Jungkook hesitated when asked how Bam was doing. He smiled faintly and said, "He's okay," but didn't elaborate. Another fan pointed out that Jungkook had stopped sharing new pictures of Bam for a while. Was that because Bam wasn't well? Had this pain been brewing quietly behind the scenes? In one fan account, an old clip was reposted, Jungkook cradling Bam in his arms like a child, whispering into his ear, "You're my strength when I have none left." That video, once sweet, now struck like a knife, because strength fades, and even the strongest hearts break. And if Bam was Jungkook's strength, what was left for Jungkook now? The community's heartbreak deepened when rumors began swirling. Someone claimed to have seen Jungkook visiting a veterinary clinic at 3 a.m. Hood pulled low, eyes red. Another alleged he cancelled a private schedule that day. No one could confirm it, but it didn't matter. The very idea of Jungkook crying in a cold, sterile animal hospital, watching Bam sleep under fluorescent lights, was enough to bring army to tears. Why hadn't he said anything? Was it because he couldn't? Was he breaking, silently, behind the walls he had so carefully built? Even more painful was the thought that maybe Jungkook was preparing for the worst, and this single photo was his quiet way of including us in that goodbye. He had never been one to overshare. He never exploited his pain. So if this was all he could manage to show, what must the rest of the story look like? One army shared a heart-wrenching theory. What if Jungkook posted the photo to say goodbye without actually saying it? Another replied, no, he wouldn't do that. Not unless he had no other choice. It was a haunting thought. Yet, through all the grief, there remained an unshakable unity. Thousands of fans began creating art, images of Bam with wings, of Jungkook holding him under a starry sky, of a rainbow bridge with the caption, "Wait for me, my little soul." Others compiled past clips into videos titled "Thank You, Bam and Forever Our Pup." Still, many refused to give in to sorrow. Instead, they chose hope. They wrote messages like, "We believe in you, Bam. Wake up soon, little warrior." And in the darkness, their hope became a kind of light, flickering, maybe, but never going out. One video even showed a little girl, perhaps no older than 7, holding a picture of Bam and whispering, "Please get better, Jungkook needs you." It went viral within hours, because in her tiny voice, she had captured what the world was too afraid to say aloud. Jungkook needs Bam. But what if Bam needed to rest? Was this fight one Bam could win? Or was this the final chapter in a love story that had already changed the world? Everyone was bracing for news, a live stream, a message, anything from Jungkook. But none came, and so the silence became deafening. The photo stayed, unmoving and answered, unforgettable. What if this is how Jungkook mourns? In stillness, in pictures, in shared heartbreak. The days that followed felt like years. Every fan checked their phone with trembling hands, hoping for a ping, a post, a sign, a miracle. Instead, they found each other. The army proved, once again, why they are unlike any fandom the world has ever seen. Because even when they had nothing, they still gave everything. When they were in pain, they offered comfort. When they were scared, they still reached out to love. In one tweet that got over 2 million likes, a fan wrote, "Whether Bam wakes up tomorrow or becomes a star in the sky, he'll always be part of Jungkook's story. And Jungkook will never walk through this heartbreak alone." And that, perhaps, is what truly matters. Love, unending, unbreakable, undeniably real. Still, the question aches like a bruise. Is this goodbye? Or is this the beginning of a fight Jungkook and Bam are determined to win? We don't know yet, but as long as Jungkook keeps holding on, so will we.